Welcome, fans, once again to KB's Unemployed show, the only show on the internet where you can sit at your job and watch a guy who doesn't have one anymore. What will KB do today? Change guitar strings, perhaps? Grade papers? Worry about his future? Who knows? The only thing we know is it's guaranteed to make you question your intelligence, simply because you're watching it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the unemployed lifestyle of KB.
The pods are now open.
Look at my cat. Look at my cat. Look.
I like to study about the world cities and airports.
KB brings just great instincts. That's what you love about him.
That boy ain't right.
If Andy yearns for Brenda and Brenda cares about Charlene, who pines for Andy, the three of them form one of these. Kara.
What is it, threesome?
No.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
Lesbians. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
I don't mind a bit of bush.
37 in a row? Shut the f*** up, okay? Shut the f*** up. Do you want to start drinking?
Yes.
You know, I'm going to have to go for 420, Bob.
Cheez-Its! Cheez-Its! Cheez-Its!
Light this candle.
He's right. Let's light this candle.
Light the candle.
Are you ready for it?
And that candle is lit, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to KB's Unemployed show. Day 53 of unemployment. I still don't have a job or any prospects, but I don't think that's going to surprise any of you. Have been following since I started this little endeavor because I would have told you if I was applying anywhere, and I'm not. But I did. Apparently, this is catching on because I did pick up my first endorsement, and I will be endorsing clothing, the John Fetterman collection at Walmart. My wife is about ready to kill me. I'm living in a black hoodie. You know, when you get in that and you're not working, you don't go anywhere. You kind of let yourself go. We had the whole sweatpants discussion a few shows ago. But it's going to be a lot of fun today. I get to catch up with a dear friend of mine. Known him for more than 30 years, kind of drifted apart, I guess you will, went separate ways. And then we have since reconnected. Comic and political commentator and YouTube host Jimmy Dore will be joining us momentarily. But I do have a few housekeeping things that I have to get to right away. One of which is yesterday, if you recall, I was doing a show on AI and how much fun I was having just making stuff with AI. And I did show this video of to which Marlo said, "Hey, why don't you do something for us ladies who watch the show? Like a police officer in Milan." Now, I met Marlo several years ago at a Packers game. We were having a little party at the 60-yard line house, which is right next to the parking lot. And Marlo was there, and she brought a wonderful charcuterie board. And so she said, "Can you do a video for?" And I said, "Sure, I will." And I went in to AI and realized that she is a Packers fan. She makes wonderful charcuterie boards, and she likes the police in Milan.
Officer,
Italy.
try this. I made it with local ingredients.
It looks wonderful. Thank you.
Please, have some.
I will. Grazie.
There you go. That's for you, Marlo. And the reason why it's that short is that while I do appreciate you tuning in, I wasn't going to spend the extra money to turn that into about a 2 or 3 minute video, but you get the point. So before we get started and get to Jimmy, we got to run down today's headlines. Immigrations and customs. I'm not going to talk about Minneapolis, but immigration and customs enforcement is going to have now a major presence at the Super Bowl in Santa Clara. So there's a lot of fears that the local immigrant population, within the population in the city, the Department of Homeland Security has confirmed that ICE agents will conduct enforcement operations at Levi Stadium during the February 8th game, going beyond their usual focus on human trafficking and counterfeit goods to include broader immigration checks. So I think we know which way that is going. They said those here legally and not breaking laws have nothing to fear, and our operations will follow the Constitution. But looking at it with, I don't think they're in the right area. With the average ticket price for the Super Bowl at being $5,500, I'm not so sure that a lot of illegal immigrants, from whatever country they came from, are throwing around that kind of bank. But a city council member advised people to skip the game. He says mixed status folks. I don't know what mixed status is. You either are or you aren't, right? But he said avoid the game. It'll be too much of a risk. So ICE is going to be cracking down on the Super Bowl. So that is going to be a friggin' nightmare, knowing how the media is going to handle that. In another story, an 80-year-old British lottery winner has been sentenced to 16 and a half years in prison. A man by the name of John Spilby won $3 million in the national lottery back in 2010. Now, he's 80 years old now, so 2010, that would have made him 65, retirement age, very close to where I am, 65, shut it down, not do anything. But no, not John Spivey. John is a go-getter. John was retired, and he said, nope, I'm going to roll that into a business. So what did he do? He set up industrial scale labs near his home in Wigan, Greater Manchester, and working with his son and two associates, they produced millions of fake diazepam tablets and benzodiazepines, often sold as Valium, with a street value up to $400 million. Police uncovered the raid. He just got arrested for conspiracy. His son and the other gang members received sentences totaling 50 years for the group. I'm just looking for a couple grand a month. I get that $3 million. I guarantee you, I am not exerting any effort, much less go to build a lab to make diazepam, clonazepam, lorazepam, any of the PAMs. I like the PAMs. The PAMs are good. And finally, this is why I hate people. This last one is why I hate people. Two California shoppers have slapped Costco with a class action lawsuit. I love Costco. My son loves Costco. I don't know where he found it, but my son just outfits himself with Kirkland clothes, T-shirts and hats and everything. But they have a class action lawsuit claiming the warehouse giant misled millions by advertising their $4.99 rotisserie chicken as having no preservatives. The suit alleges the chicken contains sodium phosphate and carrageenan additives that are preservatives to retain moisture and texture, but they have no preservative signs in the stores. So the plaintiff said, hey, the ingredients are buried in small print on packaging, tricking customers into buying or paying a premium for what they thought was preservative free. Premium, $4.99. It's a $5 frickin' chicken, for Christ's sake. And that's a premium? You know what? I'm not eating a $3 chicken, but it covers anyone who's bought the chicken with a special focus on California buyers. We get the chicken all the time. It's fine chicken. I don't notice any of the carrageenan, if you will. But they're going to sue Costco, and this is the last sentence. The plaintiffs seek damages, but, they're going to keep buying it if the label gets changed. And that is why I hate people right there. People have just fucked up the whole world. That's all I'm going to say. But what I want to do right now is bring a dear friend of mine on. We used to hang out back in the days in all the clubs in Chicago and Milwaukee. A great comic and very funny man. And he has his own YouTube channel, his own show, the Jimmy Dore Show, with 1.7 million followers. I've got 253. He's got 1.7 million followers. Jimmy Dore, Jimmy, how you doing?
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You can't hear me?
Can you hear me? Is this working? I cannot hear you. For some reason, I don't know what's going on. Let me try to switch something up here.
Okay.
Hello? I still can't hear you. No?
Really, you can't? I'm going out.
Oh, so you can hear me, but I cannot hear you, Kev. I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Let me do something.
Let me try unplugging this microphone. Maybe that'll do something.
That might do it. I can hear me because it's echoing back.
I still can't hear you.
But I can hear me when I talk to you.
Let me plug this back in because
Hey,
that wasn't it.
Jimmy's got people. That's the thing. He's got people. I should be
I don't know what's going on.
Broadcasting. Everyone here is watching.
Me though. I was listening to your show on the YouTube before, and it sounds fantastic. I wish I could hear. It says my mic is muted. Now my mic is not muted. I don't know what I'm supposed to. Here, I'll press this.
Okay, I muted the mic. I unmuted the mic. I'll unmute my mic. And you still don't hear me?
Yeah. No. Oh, here I got it. Here we go.
Yeah, everyone can hear you.
Everyone can hear you. Okay, now I got it. I found a setting and I switched it.
There
okay,
you go, Jimmy.
Sorry about that, pal. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Jimmy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's nice and warm and sunny here in Los Angeles, where I live. I'm originally from Chicago, so I stopped going back to Chicago. I used to go back for Christmas, and I stopped going back in 2002 because I would go back for like a month. And the last time I went back for a month, my feet didn't get warm the whole time. And I was like, hey, you know what? I told my family, you can come visit me for Christmas. And now that's what they do.
Well, we have been under 10 degrees for about a week and a half. You know what I got to do? I'm doing a little slapback from me, Jimmy, so I'm going to see if I can't do this. So we had we've been under zero in wind chill now for 10 days in a row, and it sucks balls.
You know, the coldest I ever was, I did a New Year's Eve gig in Fairbanks, Alaska, because I have that good of an agent. And it was 42 below zero. And the joke I wrote was, you know, when it has to warm up 70 degrees just to freeze, that's cold.
I've done cold ones too, because it seems like every time it happens, it is what the hell? I see. You know what? I've been doing this for 51 days, and it still blows. There we go. Now we go. Straight on.
There you go.
Yeah, I remember one time doing a New Year's Eve show at the Comedy Cafe, and it was about 10 degrees. And when I came out, I had my car parked on the street. Some drunk guy piled in the back end and drove it up into somebody's lawn.
Yeah,
the days
it's great.
of the cafe.
Those I miss those days. Those were fun days.
It's the 35th anniversary of the cafe.
Oh no, it's still going?
Yeah.
Who's running it now?
No, it's not going. It's just 35 years since it was open. We got someone saying you're echoing a little bit.
Oh, what can I do about that? I'll go back into. I have it clicked. You know when it says. Let me go audio. It says echo cancellation. I have it.
Okay, let me just. Maybe I don't. Audio. Yeah, I got echo cancellation on.
I got echo cancellation on here.
Okay.
I don't know what to do then. Let me hear. I
can't hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. You can't hear me?
This is.
I got it. It sounds good as far as I can tell. I think is it coming out of your speakers or something?
It shouldn't be because I'm in my headphones now.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't know what else to say.
I'm echoing. You're not. You're not echoing toward me. I'm echoing toward you.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what could we do about that. Let me see let me try to put it on. Just use my internal microphones for my computer. See if that helps.
Okay.
Did that help at all? Is it still echoing?
Oh, no, that helps a lot.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, we're going to do that. Okay. Let's get going. We'll start this show over for the 39 people that are here. I usually get up over 100, but I don't know. Nonetheless, so back in the old Comedy Cafe days, that's when we first met. I want to talk to you about a lot about comedy, but now you kind of got into, you were never really political before when you started out, and now you've gotten into this whole political thing and have had an incredible amount of success with your YouTube channel. How did you make that jump to the politics side of things? At what point did you decide you wanted to do that?
Oh, sure. Benjamin Netanyahu started giving me money, and I'm not supposed to tell anybody. And no, what happened was the Iraq War happened way back in 2003, and I had hurt my back, and so I was on the couch watching TV, and I couldn't get over how bad the TV news was and how they just pushed pro-war propaganda. And then the UCB Theater, which started in Chicago, they opened in Los Angeles, and they asked me, and that was stand up.
We've lost you entirely, Jimmy. Did you cut off your mic? This is the biggest train wreck of a freaking show. It is just, that's why there's only 36 people now. I think.
No, you still can't hear.
There we go. Okay, now I can't hear you. What the fuck? It's just like, this is a, you know what? My show is a Roz gig. Yeah. Yeah, but for some reason I can't seem to get you there. It says your microphone is not working when you talk.
Oh, come on.
There we go.
Using this. Okay, so let's keep try.
Okay. All right. You're kind of cutting out. No, but so the Iraq War, you got your back, you're messed up on your back. So what got you to the news was horrible. I do remember having to go down the night that Desert Storm started. I was headlining at Zany's downtown, and I was driving down listening to Wolf Blitzer underneath the table at the Al Rashid Hotel.
But no, what happened was, so you can hear me now?
Yeah. That's cutting in and out, Jimmy.
No, I'm not doing anything.
Oh boy. Well, you know what the great thing is we can do this in post if we had to. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'm thinking is it's coming out of your main speakers and cycling back through your mic. So unless you could go to a headphone or something like that on your speakers, that would kill it. In the meantime, like to remind you that I do not do the show on Fridays. And for those of you who are sticking around, fine. If other people are bailing, they can come back and get it later on the YouTube channel. Which I'm just starting out as that would be, but trying to have some fun here, and we are, so technologically. That's because we're old people. If we had a 21-year-old here, the 21-year-old would come in and go pop, 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 and we would be done, and everything would be set up. But somehow we are not. But nonetheless, I'm just going to go on, and we're going to let Jimmy. We'll wait till he jumps back in. And I'm going to talk. I want to talk to you a little bit until he gets that fixed. Today was my second day of classes with the students, so I went in, and this is one of my favorite days. I call this one day two. Day one is syllabus day. Day two I refer to as collaboration day, And collaboration day is something that I noticed that these kids do not like to do. So what I did, and I go in on the second day, I find all the kids and I say, pick out someone you don't know in the class. And they pick out someone that they don't know. And we kind of team them up, partners. And I said, okay, everyone is teamed up. You've got someone there. And they said, yeah. I go, here's what I want you to do. Talk to each other. And they all look at me like I'm half crazy. And I'm like, no, seriously, talk to each other. You guys never talk to each other. We need you to start talking to each other. And for 35 minutes, I walk out of the room and just let them talk to each other. And I come back in and I said, okay, I know you're all capable of speech. And there should be no reason why you don't participate in class anymore. It seems to work fine. But as I was saying, is Jimmy back? Are you back, Jimmy?
I don't know. You tell me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you're breaking up. So I don't know what the heck that is. So the signal coming from you is a little odd. The only thing I can think of is if you put some headphones in out of the back of your computer, go back to your regular mic, we should be fine. And then it is going to be a fantastic show, I can tell already. Because there's some stuff that I want to bounce off you about comics we work with.
So is it still feeding back? Because I don't know if I have them pre-recorded headphones. I have to go find them.
Okay, why don't you do that? Because now you're hearing the slap back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's coming back. It's coming out of your computer and back through your mic.
Let me see if I turn it down. Will that help?
Yeah, if you can still hear me.
Won't let me turn it down. All right, let me go find a pair of recorded headphones if I can find
All right. While Jimmy is gone, we're going to continue talking. Coming up next week on the show is going to be it's going to be another comic friend of mine. I believe Pete Schwaba is going to be joining us. I've got some other guys lined up that will be coming in. One great comic out of Kenosha, Wisconsin, then went to LA via Minneapolis, ended up being one of the great producers of television show, did some of the most innovative TV shows, and did them on cable, which is none other than Jeff Cesario, who did the Larry Sanders Show and It's Gary Shandling Show, two really revolutionary television shows. So they will be coming up next week, and in all likelihood, they will cancel on me, as they usually do. But moving forward, I was ready to talk to Jimmy. Jimmy and I started working about 30 years ago at the Comedy Cafe, and we came out of this whole, at that point, comedy was just exploding. There was a comedy club every 35 or 40 feet. It seemed like if you had a strip mall, you had a comedy club. And so we were playing all of the rooms, and you'd go down to Chicago. It was the closest thing to doing comedy in New York if you went down to Chicago on a Monday night, because you would go back and forth at the two clubs. There were Catch a Rising Star, there was Catch, the Improv, and the Funny Firm. And you would do one of those things where you just walk from club to club, and you get on the list and you go do 3 sets a night and just work on your material. And that's how Jimmy and I met. And there was a lot of great comics that came out of that time period. Pete Schwab, as I said, came out of that. Jimmy Parda, who's got a great podcast. Graham Elwood is another one who's got a great podcast. I've been in the 414. I'm surprised you just didn't say, oh, fucking get a drink. I almost did. But once Jimmy is plugged in, then this thing is going to rip. This show is going to friggin' slap. But we're down to 40 people now. Come on, folks. Let's get that tote board up, shall we? So let's see how we're doing there.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I can hear you too. I went and found a pair of corded headphones. What do you think of that?
I think that's fantastic.
Okay, so we could do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll get back to that story. That story was, how did I get into doing political comedy? when I just started out as a regular blue collar guy. It was the Iraq War. I couldn't get over how bad the propaganda, war propaganda was on TV news. And then the UCB Theater opened up in Los Angeles. You know, they started in Chicago. That's Matt Besser, Matt Walsh, Amy Poehler, those people. And they asked me to do a show. What's that?
Ian Roberts was with them.
Oh, yeah.
I did improv with him.
Oh, yeah, he's hilarious. I love that guy. And all of them. And so they asked me to do a show. So I had to come up with a show. And so I kind of put together a hybrid show of the Bill Maher Show and the Daily Show, where I used video and I had a panel. And Jim Gaffigan's manager saw that show, loved it, and he signed me. And that led to my hour special on Comedy Central called Citizen Jimmy, which was chosen best of the year by iTunes, by the way. And the reason I tell you that, because if I don't, nobody will. So that's why I tell you. And so that's how I really got started doing that. And then I got a radio show off of that. And then I got hired by the Young Turks, which was an online news show that was really big. And that's kind of how I learned how to do news on the YouTube. And then in 2015, I started my own show out of my garage. I built a studio in my garage in Pasadena, and I started it. And, you know, Kev, I had just about retired from comedy. I was 50 years old, and I was like, you know what? I did it. I got 3 specials on TV. I've headlined the improvs. I've been to all the festivals. I did it. I can retire now. And then I started this show, and immediately I started selling tickets. It was immediate. Like I had a podcast, I had a radio show, I had specials on TV. I was on Kimmel and CBS and everything, and none of it sold tickets until I started my YouTube show. So YouTube's a very, very powerful platform, and then that just led to everything now. So now I'm, you know, I sell out theaters and things like that, and it's a dream come true. By the way, I'll be back in Milwaukee on February 21st. So I go there usually around every year and a half, and I have a blast. And so if anybody in Milwaukee wants to come see me, come see me. I'll see you. Got lots of new jokes about the Charlie Kirk thing, which is unbelievable. But anyway,
wow.
So that's how I got started, and then my show kind of took off, and that's I really chalk it up to YouTube.
A lot of good Charlie Kirk material. You don't normally hear something like that. That's like right in my wheelhouse. A lot of good Charlie Kirk material. Like I said, I was talking yesterday on the show, and you always run into a little bit of a problem sometimes when you dance around this stuff. And I want to talk about when you're on stage, you've developed this personality that people know they're going to get political stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so they know what's coming. But an average guy like myself, you can't go down that road at all because you're just going to get absolutely smoked. So I find myself, after being on the air, being very tentative about what I say. And yes, and I'm always monitoring my words. And I thought I came up with a hell of an analogy yesterday when I was talking about, I got in an argument about the immigration problems. And slapping back there, Jimmy. I don't know what's going. Yeah, I don't know. Here, let me just mute your mic. I'm just going to mute your mic until you have to talk. So I started talking about the immigration problems, and I like to come down and break things down to its very simplest form. And I said, I have figured out what immigration is, and I don't know what anybody is upset about because they don't know how to relate to it. And immigration is basically America has a buddy who got divorced and thrown out of the house, and he comes to live on your couch. And you go, yeah, come in for a while. You can hang out. Everything's fine. I got a place for you to stay. And then until you get back on your feet and you can help out. But he stays there too long, eats all your food, pisses off your wife. And then the next thing you know, you want to throw him out and you can't.
To me, the illegal immigration problem is
right.
It wasn't an accident. It was a policy. And isn't it amazing how they can, because Trump, when he came in, he stopped the immigration, the illegal immigration coming across the border, and he did it without a wall. Isn't that weird? It's like they could just flip a switch, and all they have to do is want to enforce it. And so it was a policy, the billionaire class, the chambers of commerce, They want to have an open border policy. We've always known this. And why? So they can drive down wages. And if you notice, ICE, like if you were going to run ICE, and you're like, hey, I know, let's go to the farms that are employing illegal immigrants, the construction sites, the meatpacking places, the hotels, because they're all packed chock full with illegal immigrants. Why don't we go there and we'll arrest the people who are hiring them because it's illegal to do that. And then that'll stop the illegal immigration right there, and it'll also stop the employment of illegal immigrants, which is what everybody said they were upset about. But they're not doing that. They're like, hey, I know, let's put a bunch of guys who were working at a TJ Maxx last week, let's give them guns, put them in masks, have them patrol Minnesota in the middle of winter in unmarked cars. And they'll have them chase brown people into donut shops. What do you think? What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
Yeah, I know. It's just an absolute mess. And I try and stay away from these conversations because you can't have a rational argument with anyone about it. Everyone gets so emotional. But when you were doing stand-up, when did you notice the shift? When people, they went from being mildly offended to attacking you back if you said something that they thought was the least bit untowardly.
I noticed that happen with Trump. So when Trump got in, people felt like it was their duty to fight against Nazis and fascists. And that's when they started hating half the country, calling them Nazis, white supremacists, racists, and fascists. And I think that's really when it happened. And, you know, that really plays into I always try to tell my audience that the fight is not left-right, it's top-down. It's us against them, because the billionaire class, they fund all the politicians and they all work together behind the scenes because they all have the same agenda. They all want to keep us from healthcare. They all want to be pro-Wall Street, screw the workers, and have more war. And that's the way it's always been. So I try to tell people, don't get caught up in that, because that's the oldest game in the book, Kev, is divide and conquer. And so if they can make you think that your neighbor is the problem instead of the billionaire that's running your life and controlling you and censoring you and forcing you to take experimental medical treatments and lock down your business with no science. If they can make you hate your neighbor, so that keeps you distracted from the fact that you both share a common enemy, and that common enemy is Jeff Bezos and George Soros and Bill Gates and the rest of the billionaire class that run the country, that actually run things. And so that's the point of my show, to try to wake people up from that and realize that your neighbor is hurting just like you are under that same oligarchy. We don't live in an oligarchy. I mean, we don't live in a democracy. We actually live in an oligarchy that was proven by a Princeton study over 10 years now. What does that mean, Jimmy? What do you mean when you say we live in an oligarchy? Well, what that means is that your vote doesn't matter. So you get to vote, but just as Mark Twain said, if voting mattered, they'd make it illegal. And so it doesn't matter, and that's why you're allowed to vote. And the people who are the Republican or the Democrat is chosen, and they're chosen by the oligarchy, which is that's who the deep state works for. You know, here's an interesting story I like to tell people. When Trump came into office the first time, he was insulting the FBI and the CIA and the NSA, and Chuck Schumer at that time was the head of the Senate and a top Democrat in the country. He went on Rachel Maddow and he said, well, Trump is being really dumb to go after the intelligence community and insult them. And Rachel Maddow says, why? And he says, well, because they've got 6 ways to Sunday to get back at you if you go against the intelligence community. What he revealed in that moment, Kev, was that the FBI and the CIA and the NSA, they don't actually work for the president, and that the president should be afraid of them. And I'm like, well, if they don't work for the president and the president should be afraid of them, who do they really work for? That's the real question. And the real question is they work for the international globalist billionaires. They always have. The WEF, the Davos people, they just had Davos again, which is one of my favorite things. All the billionaires, they take about 1,000 private jets, they fly into Davos, and then they have breakout sessions on how to fight climate change.
Climate change.
And it always comes down to something we have to do. It's like, well, you have to live in a 15-minute city in a storage container, driving an electric scooter, eating the bugs that hit you on the face as you drive around town. But we're going to keep driving it. We're going to keep flying in our private jets, and we're also going to keep buying bigger and bigger yachts. Jeff Bezos just bought a 450-foot yacht. It's 150 foot bigger than a football field. It's so big it comes with its own support yacht. I don't even know that was a thing that you can have a
support yacht.
It comes with a support yacht. And my advice to Jeff Bezos is, hey, why don't you just get the penis enlargement surgery, because that's what this is really about, right? And then you can brag to women, look how big my cock is. It's so big it comes with a support cock. It's got its own support cock. But that's the same thing about, the Mark Zuckerberg, who runs Facebook. He's a big environmentalist, but he just bought a 430-foot yacht, 20 feet taller, because, he's a man of the people. And it's powered by 4 giant diesel engines. These are the same people who are screaming at us, telling us we can't have gas-powered lawnmowers, we got to drive electric cars, we got to live in 15-minute cities, and they're all buying giant yachts with 4 giant. But I'm sure his yacht has an electric stove.
And it's solar powered. They put a few panels that aren't connected to anything up on the top for the cover. Well, you talk about Zuckerberg and social media. While a lot of us have benefited from it, I always say this about Facebook, and people don't really understand where I'm coming from. And I said, Facebook is inherently evil. And they go, what do you mean by that? I go, it is inherently evil. That it cannot be used. It can be used for some good, but it is not good. And the reason being is that it was created specifically to do bad things.
It was.
And if you
go ahead.
No, because he did it, he created it to get back at the chicks that wouldn't go out with him.
Exactly right.
It was created for bad. So how can you make it good?
Well, and I think he even I saw that movie. It looked like he stole the idea anyway, right?
He did.
And it was, so he's not a genius like everybody thinks these guys are genius. Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, they're not geniuses. They're just monopolists, right? And they're kind of predatory capitalists, and they like to squash workers, censor you. You think Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post because he cares about the truth? The richest guy in the world? No, he bought that, which was a losing proposition, which is why he got it so cheap. He bought the Washington Post because he wanted to control the narrative around what he was doing. He's in bed with the CIA. He's got billions and billions of dollars of contracts with them. And so he's all for censorship. He's all for the military-industrial complex. By the way, when I went to Europe, I have fans in Europe, so I went and did a tour there.
Really?
And when I was there, the same thing, that Jeff Bezos is doing the same thing. He's buying up media there. The billionaire class, they have the same problems in Europe as far as censorship, free speech, and the billionaire class dictating their life as we do here in the United States. So that's why my show is popular over there. And because we're living under the same international billionaire banker oligarchy.
Well, the number one thing you do to overthrow a government, so I guess in this case the world, is you control the media. Look at that, man. You get to drink out of a cup with your own picture on it. How the hell does that work?
Nice? That's nice, huh?
That's huge, Jimmy. You got your own subreddit. You got your own subreddit, for Christ's sake, where people trash you. I am so jealous. I'm just on there looking for hot wives, for Christ's sake, and you got your own people are trashing you on there. No,
I piss off everybody. You know that. I piss off the left. I piss off the right. I piss off everybody.
Absolutely, and that's the thing about comedy, is that what people don't understand is that we hate everybody.
That's yes.
It's not that we hate the right, and it's not that we hate the left. I know guys like you and I, we just hate the hypocrisy. And we can't stand the lack of common sense and how they try and blow it by us. I remember when you want to talk about someone making billions. Look what Bezos made during COVID, for God's sakes, And but as I said, that I told people I'm not buying this COVID thing. And it's an illness, and people are sick. But here's why I'm not buying it: is because if this is the worst pandemic to hit the world since the plague in the Middle Ages, then why are they leaving the validation of vaccination up to a guy in Walgreens with a Sharpie? The IRS can find you if you shorted them $100. But no, you get a guy who's working at Walgreens goes, there you go, good to go, go wherever you want. It's like, what the hell?
Well, and now we know that they always knew that vaccine was not a vaccine. That's why they had to literally change the definition of what a vaccine is in the dictionary. You go to 2019 and look at the definition of what a vaccine is, and you look at the definition now, they're different. It used to say that a vaccine creates immunity from a virus. Now it says it creates a immune response, which is totally different, right? Okay, so so that's what. It's like if you went if you got the polio vaccine and then you still got polio, you'd be like, I don't think that polio vaccine works. But everybody I know who got the COVID vaccine also got COVID. In fact, as many shots as you got is usually how many times you got COVID. I got 2 shots. I got COVID actually 3 times. So
wow.
And then
you made money on the deal.
Yeah. And then it got revealed in the European Parliament when an executive from Pfizer was testifying. They asked, hey, did you know that the vaccine didn't stop transmission? Did you test it to see if it stopped transmission? And they said, no. And they said, but you told everybody? Yeah. Well, we didn't know. We were moving at the speed of science and we didn't know. But they did. They always knew. They didn't even test it to see if it stopped transmission or contraction, which is the point of taking a vaccine in the first place. And so you were onto that. You were right. The virus was never as deadly as they said it was. And now we just found out there's a new study that came out of, I think, Denmark that figured out that 85% of the positive diagnosis for COVID were false. So there never really was a pandemic. And by the way, the hospitals were never overflowing. That's why all those nurses were allowed to do intricate dance routines in empty hospital wards. We all saw the videos. If you go on Twitter, if you've seen those videos left, and they're all, if they're so overloaded and there's no space left in the hospitals, where are they filming these things? Because they're always empty hospital wards and they have nothing but free time. You know, after I pull a 16-hour shift working with deadly viruses and dying patients, I like to go blow off steam by doing complicated dance routine practices for hours and hours and then filming them for TikTok. That doesn't make it. So people, here's the thing, Kev, you were right about COVID and the virus, but the thing is that people, they were so inundated with propaganda that they'll never be able to wrap their brains around how big of a lie they were told about COVID. The virus is real. It was invented by Dr. Fauci. Even though Barack Obama stopped that, it's called gain of function research, where they take a virus and make it more deadly and more infectious. Barack Obama put a stop to that because everywhere they were doing that kind of research in the United States, the virus would escape and it would infect people. And he said, hey, this is dangerous. And so he shut it down. Dr. Fauci went around his regulation. He funded more of that. And that's why he outsourced it to Wuhan in China. And he did it through a CIA cutout called the Eco Health Alliance. Now, we all know this is a fact. This is not my conjecture. This isn't a conspiracy theory. These are facts that we know, but that have been printed in mainstream corporate news. We know this is a fact. So why aren't people, if they're so angry about people who wouldn't take their vaccine or wouldn't wear a mask or why aren't they angry at Dr. Fauci, who we now know was the guy who invented that and almost did it illegally because Barack Obama had put a moratorium on that kind of research. But there's none of that. Why? Why is that? Because Dr. Fauci worked for Big Pharma, he worked for DARPA, and those are the two things that control your corporate news, is Big Pharma and the military-industrial complex. And so people can't realize how much they were lied to, how big the lie was. We never needed lockdowns. We never needed masks. There's no science to back up either of those things. They lied about herd immunity. They lied about natural immunity. They lied about the vaccine stopping transmission. They lied about the vaccine stopping contraction. They lied about how deadly the virus is. They overcounted people, the whole thing. And they also lied that the vaccine was safe and effective. 1 out of 800 shots causes a serious adverse event from COVID vaccine. Do you know when they had the swine flu vaccine, 1 out of 100,000 shots causing an adverse event, and they pulled it. Now with this, 1 out of 800, and they're still, now they finally stopped recommending it, finally. So And by the way, it's if you look at you don't want to go down the rabbit hole when it comes to vaccines because it's a lie so big your brain can't comprehend it. And I run into this all the time. People it's an emotional thing when it comes to COVID. It's not about facts. It's not about science. They said you have to trust the science. You don't trust science. Science runs on questioning. And if you can't question something, it's not science. It's now a religion.
Right. And that's what I was always saying is that the whole concept of the scientific method, which advances science, is based on questioning science.
That's right.
You know, my son was in healthcare, and he still is. He's out in Boston. He's an anesthesiologist, and he was working at Lurie at Northwestern during COVID and the shutdown, and he was in pediatric cardiac. And so he never got pulled off the floor to the COVID floors because he was highly specialized. But he FaceTimed me one day. He was still going to work because he was an essential worker, right? And he FaceTimed me one day. And you being from Chicago, you would know this, and you know where Northwestern is. I used to live right across the street on Erie Street. He FaceTimes me. He's riding his bike to work down the middle of Michigan Avenue, right about where Water Tower Place is, dead down the middle at noon. And he takes the phone, he shows it around. It's like there's nothing there. And I'm like, dear God. And he said, yeah, he goes, you know, he's young, he's 31, so he looks at things a lot differently. And he goes, yeah, I mean, I'm glad I didn't have to go and work out there, but I'm also glad I'm a nurse because I got free Chick-fil-A. Let's just break that right down. You know, we're gonna break it down. Yeah, I got free Chick-fil-A. Okay. And he yelled at me because I hate the Cubs, and he yelled at me because he goes, you can hate the Cubs, but you can't hate Anthony Rizzo because he sends us steaks all the time. So he sends steak dinners, and he goes, so you can't hate Rizzo. So I don't do that. But taking a look at you know, I'm kind of cut from your mold. I lean conservative, but like I said, I just can't stand the hypocrisy of things and how people vacillate back and forth. And so when you're doing comedy, I'm afraid I wanted to go out and do it again, and I'm kind of afraid to because of how people will react. Because if I may go off and just say something that I think is funny, you know, people go absolutely apeshit if you say something wrong.
But isn't that's kind of the fun of it, right? I enjoy pissing people off. I really do. I get a kick out of it, especially if I know what I'm saying is actually funny, and the only reason they can't laugh at it is because of a preconceived notion they have in their head. But I go up all the time in Los Angeles in front of crowds who don't know I'm coming. And I make it go over. There's a way you can make, there's like you pretend you're the dummy, you pretend like you pretend like you agree with them, and then you just do it. And so, that there's ways to get around it, and you're a clever guy. And sometimes when the crowd doesn't laugh, it opens you up to new avenues of comedy, right? And you shouldn't be, especially somebody as funny as you should not be afraid of it.
Well, I went out when my son was I had not done it for a while because I went on the radio, and I went out down to the Comedy Cafe when my son was in college. And I was thinking, man, all I got to do is get 25 solid minutes and work one weekend, and I can pay for his books for a semester. Right. That's all I got to do. So I went down to an open mic night, and I'm seeing these people working the open mic, and I'm going, oh my God, they're just absolutely horrible. But we all were. Okay. We all were bad when we first started.
Of course.
But this guy gets up in front of me, and this is where my jaw dropped. He started talking about the Smurfs, and he said he's talking about the Smurfs, and he goes, and I quote, because he goes, "What Jew greenlit this?" And I'm like, are you? I go, what does comedy come to? Are you freaking kidding me? This is what you said. So I'm like, and I had written a new opening line, so I figured, okay, I'm free and clear on this one, right? And so I get up and I do my opening line, which is this. I still think it's a brilliant line. But I just kind of sat back and I let everything settle down till you get, where you get that awkward silence before you speak. And I got down to that point and I just look up and I go, if I had to create the world's worst driver, it would probably be a handicapped elderly Asian woman in a Toyota Prius with a Coexist bumper sticker and a Jesus bitch. And I get, ooh. And I'm like, this guy just talking about Jews greenlighting the Smurfs, and you're mad about that? I'm being mildly observant, for God's sake. I'm not being anti-Semitic. I'm just saying I just took everyone who is a bad driver that people complain about, lumped them into one. And so I do have, I may go out again because I do have, the problem is we have no open mics, and as well as I do, you have to go out and you have to work to write your material.
Yeah, you have to get on stage.
Yeah, you can't just write it. And when you start out, you write it, and then you go and you're trying to get your 5 minutes so you can get that opening spot. But then as you progress and you get a little bit more polish, then you use open mics to write material, where you just go up and you have 3 topics that you're going to talk about. But we don't have the luxury of doing an open mic. So I haven't, and I'm too old to be driving to Chicago. But I do have one line. Let me throw this one at you because I think this is a fantastic opening line, but it'll probably get me blown off the stage again. And again, it's one of those things where you start and everything gets quiet and you just kind of hit them from left field. That's the John Fox model, if you remember, And so I go, So my new therapist has got a great set of tits. And that's really throwing a wrench into everything. But the problem is not being able to go and work out on a stage, right? You don't necessarily, where's the right way to take that bit? Where do you go with it? You can write it out, but you can't. Until you work it out, it's not going to work for you.
My therapist also has a great set of tits. Nice guy, but he really is an overeater. He's really overeating.
So, let's talk about the old days of comedy because one of the things I do, and I'm going to do this right now, it's a little bit different, but I want to run these by you because I always do a top 5 list on this show. And I think the other day I did the top 5 more groups who need to be deported, which was like people that have gender reveal parties, things like that. Let's get them out of the country. So my top 5 today is my top 5 favorite comics that I've worked with. Okay. And it may not be the best, which is different because a lot of us, if you say, who's the funniest guy you worked with, maybe most people might not know because they're funnier off stage a lot of times than they are on. So my favorite ones, and I'm going to go through a few quickly that are honorable mentions. Okay. And this one's going to surprise some people, but because of the press that she's gotten, that she's some sort of evil witch, but she was the sweetest person that I ever worked with. And that was Ellen DeGeneres. And look at that. No, she was when I worked with her. And I worked with Ellen when she was like, well, she might be. I'm not sure if she's a lesbian. She could be, could go either way with that hair when she had the longer hair. And she was absolutely adorable and sweet. And then I don't know, when I heard all these horror stories about her, I didn't know what happened.
Well, she got power. That's what
probably.
So before, when you worked with her, she didn't have power. She was at the mercy of comedy bookers and comedy crowds, and now she had power. And you saw the real Ellen DeGeneres came out. That's what I think happened.
That could very well be true. This guy, I'm sure out there, Jeff Cesario.
Great guy.
Jeff is, one of the best producers around. Boy, he had his fingers in some great stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God, in the Larry Sanders Show, which is still holds up. That still holds up if you go back and watch it. And the Gary Shandling Show. So Cesario was one of my favorites that I ever worked with. How about this? You ever work with Judy Tenuta?
I never did, even though she was around when I started.
She recently passed, yeah.
Yeah, she recently passed, but she's from Chicago. I'm pretty sure she started in Chicago. And she was a big name when I started. I started in 1989. But we never crossed paths. We never worked on the same stage together. It's funny.
And she dated Emo Phillips for the longest time. She was with Emo for the long time. He was from Downers Grove.
Correct.
Downers Grove. But Judy was she was cute. She was attractive. She doesn't look like it in those pictures, but she was pretty attractive. And she used to, when I worked together, she had one thing that she would make me do all the time. She would go, "Do your Jerry Seinfeld impression." So I go, "Who are these people?" And then she would go, "Okay, now do Paul Reiser." And I go, "Who are all these people?"
That's very
Judy
good,
was,
by the way.
Yeah, Judy was a sweetheart. Yeah, just found out the other day I could do with Peter Griffin. I just spit that out one day. Now we get into this one, Robert Klein.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I never worked with him either.
But I know he worked with this guy, one of the funniest guys ever. Again, now I'm going to get into my list, and the list that I go down, my top 5, I think 3 of them are dead, but another honorable mention is Rich Jennings.
Oh, I worked with Rich. Yeah.
And he might have been one of the funniest guys that I ever saw.
Yeah, he's certainly, big gut busting. You have to gasp for air when you're watching him because you're laughing so much. And he was also funny off stage.
Mm-hmm. Very funny off stage. And then, but as you know, with most comics, they're very, they're tragic human beings. It comes from, a lot of them have, there's a dark side to them.
Yeah.
A real dark side. And he had that dark side. And there's a couple more here that are kind of dark. So now I'm to my top 5. 5 is a guy named Dan Whitney.
Oh, I love Dan Whitney.
And you love him as Larry the Cable Guy.
I met him when he was still Dan Whitney.
Uh-huh.
And he made me laugh so hard off stage. Like the hardest I've ever laughed off stage, I think, Dan Whitney. I mean, I'll never forget sitting in Linda's apartment and him pretending like he has Tourette's. He used to do that. You remember that? It was back when you could do stuff like that. But anyway, he would do it in public, and it was so funny.
He had the fastest 20 minutes coming out of the shoot.
Yeah.
He would come right out, and I saw him, he called me one time when he was first starting out. He goes, "Hey, Kev, you're doing radio now." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I've been calling these stations, and I've been doing this character. I call him Larry the Cable Guy. And I always say, got to go get her done." He goes, "What do you think? You think that'll catch on?" Well, I'm like, "Yeah, go with it." But meanwhile, I'm being the cynical comic that I am, and I'm rolling my eyes because it's like he's a guitar act.
Yeah.
He's a prop act. Meanwhile, he goes on to make $500,000 a night doing arenas, and I'm out of a gig. So he would be number 5. Coming in at number 4 is someone, again, here's one guy who passed, Greg Giraldo.
Oh, yeah, another hilarious guy, and fun, nice guy too.
And had a dark side, but that's where good comedy comes from, that darkness.
Yeah, correct.
But they also have to live with it, which is unfortunate. Number 3 of mine is a guy that works squeaky clean.
Brian Regan.
How did you know?
I just know it. He'd be on my list. He's one of the funniest guys, and a funny guy to hang, and nice guy to hang with off stage. One of the nicest guys in the world I ever met.
Yeah, he is still. And he's still funny. He's still bringing it when he's out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. He hasn't lost a step at all. I still every time he comes to Los Angeles, I see him. I go to see him.
Number 2, and then I'm going to ask you for your favorites. Number 2 is this guy.
John Fox.
John Fox. You know, he had the best. Two firemen are butt fucking in a small field group. Fire chief comes in, says, "What's wrong?" He goes, "This man's got smoke inhalation." He goes, "Well, then give him mouth to mouth." So how do you think this got started?
That's it. I forgot the punchline. That is the
That was
punchline.
his opening. That was his opening. And then my number one all-time favorite, another dead guy. And I remember one night at the cafe, Linda only let three of us go up. It was Will Durst, myself, and this guy. And I think he is of my era. It's because Seinfeld, Pryor, a little before me, those guys. But of the guys that I came up with, Hicks.
Oh, Bill Hicks. Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No, he was, to me, he was my all-time favorite comedian because of his subject matter, because of the courage he showed on stage, and because of how hilarious he was. He made it all really funny. And and he talk about a guy with a dark side.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
God,
that's
yeah.
And that's what made him funny. It was great. I loved it. And he influenced me a lot. He influenced a lot of people. And there was a time when there was a lot of everybody was trying to do their best Bill Hicks impression, kind of, you know. I remember those trying to be in your face, smoking on stage, being a badass. Well, who's that guy from Rescue 911? What's his name? From Boston, Kevin.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, and I can't think of the name.
I can't think of his name either, but he stole his act pretty much and his persona. And he got famous off it because, you know, he was willing to play the game. And, you know, what is that guy's name? But anyway, but Bill Hicks wasn't. You know, he wouldn't do commercials and he wouldn't, you know, temper what he had to say. He wasn't going to play the nice guy. Why can't I think of that guy's name? Anyway, but Bill Hicks was, he's definitely a hero. And I didn't know, I met him a few times, but I didn't know him. And it was weird when he died. It was the first time someone had died that I didn't know that made me sad. Like
really?
I was really sad.
I had worked with him a couple of times, and I know it's out there on YouTube, and the tape is really bad because it was at the Funny Firm. And I don't know if you've seen this, but I was in the back of the room. It was Monday night, and he got pissed at a woman and cleared the room. And it's out there because you'd go in with your tape, you'd put it up in the thing, and then you tape your set. And someone had it and put it out there, and he had a drunk woman that he just absolutely tore to shreds. And it's one of the funniest things that I've ever seen. And then went from table to table and drove almost everybody out of the club. He was so pissed off. But, you know, the thing is, he dies of pancreatic cancer. You know, he doesn't even die of his abuse. He quit drinking and everything like that. I mean, he ran it pretty hard.
Oh yeah, he was definitely a serious alcoholic, and but then but by the time I saw him, he had sobered up. He had he packed in a lot of living into a short time. So he started comedy when he was 16 years old. So by the time he was 24, he already had 8 years, almost a decade under his belt. I didn't start comedy till I was 24. I had nothing under my belt. So he was already kind of a decade ahead, and he got into drinking. It opened him up. It helped him become like the comedian he needed to be, in a sense, right? And then when he dropped it, I remember someone I know asked him, "Hey, why?" He goes, "I just didn't need it anymore." That's what he said. I guess he needed, alcohol. Like I used to smoke pot before I got on stage. I don't do it anymore. But it definitely, I needed it for a while to help me get to a certain place creatively and psychologically that I could perform in a way that I wanted to. And then I could get to that place without it. And as soon as I could get to that place without it, I dropped it. I stopped smoking pot before I went on stage because there was side effects, negatives, like I would forget things or forget my place. But it balanced out because I was more creative, I was looser, I was funnier. But then when I could get there, be creative, loose, and funny without it, then there was just the negatives. So that's why I dropped it. But yeah, he was a raging alcoholic. But when I met him, he had stopped drinking. I met him like somewhere around 1993, maybe. Maybe no, it's probably earlier than that. Doesn't matter. And then he died in 1994. What a sad. He was young. He was like 30. He was like 32.
32.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had 4 HBO specials by the time he was 32. I mean, he was really something. He was prolific. By the way, none of those specials capture how funny he was. If you watch those specials, you'd be like, nah, he's all right. It's because it's a real art to be able to capture someone, and whoever directed that or whatever didn't do it. But there's one video called The Sane Man. He did by himself, him and Kevin Booth, and it was on black and white, and he taped it at the Laugh Stop in Houston. And if you could get a hold of that, actually captures how funny he is.
So, Jimmy, I mean, when you take a look, okay, I gave you some of my favorites. Who are some of your all-time favorites?
Favorite comedians or favorite to work with?
Well, either one. To work with or
my all-time favorite comedians were Jerry Seinfeld, Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks is my all-time favorite, and then everybody else is tied for second. Brian Regan, Jerry Seinfeld, George Carlin for sure. And then it's just a free-for-all after that. Dave Attell. There's just so many. I remember when Todd Barry's first CD came out called Medium Energy. I must have listened to that CD 40 times. I could not stop listening to it. I thought it was so funny. So there's a lot of guys, but Bill Hicks would be number one, and then Brian Regan, Jerry Seinfeld. Jay Leno was a real inspiration to me.
He was great until he got the Tonight Show, and then he went very white bread. He went middle of the road.
Yeah, I think he was edgy. If you watch, you can find those on YouTube now. When he used to be on the panel on David Letterman, he would just come out and go right to panel, and Dave would say, "What's your beef, Jay?" And then Jay would go, yeah. He would do brilliant comedy. And you're right. So when he got that Tonight Show, it seemed like he felt like he had to kind of temper his edge, and he did. And his show was number one for years and years. So it worked. But I think it made him less funny.
You mentioned the Tonight Show, and now, and the fact that you went on Kimmel and those things, but it's when you do your podcast, that's where you sell tickets. And so those late night shows are not the launching pads for comics anymore like they used to be. Yeah. And go ahead. I wish I would have seen Carson in a club.
Me too. Yeah.
That would be, and there's not even tape of that out there.
No, but he would go to Vegas and play Vegas. I think one time he kind of hosted a thing with with the Rat Pack? I don't know. He did something like that. But yeah, I would love to have seen that too. I mean, he was really a talk show host, whereas Jay Leno was really a stand-up comedian. Like, that was what he was great at, and he wasn't as good at talk show hosting. But I think Johnny Carson was really great at talk show hosting. That was his gig. That was his wheelhouse. And I think if his stand-up was great, I think we would see it, right? It would have survived. I'm sure it was good. I'm sure it was fun, but it wasn't, like Jay Leno, his stand-up was the thing. Johnny Carson, his hosting was the thing, which is two totally different skills.
And a couple other people that out there that were hosts or made their bones somewhere else and that were great stand-ups that people forget about are Letterman.
Yeah, Letterman
was a great stand-up, and Albert Brooks was hysterical.
Oh my God, Albert Brooks. Well, the problem with Albert Brooks was that he got super successful doing movies. And so just like Steve Martin, a lot of people, once you get super successful doing movies, it's hard to go out and do stand-up comedy because that's a full-time job to keep relevant, stay up, get on stage. It takes a lot of effort, And so, yeah, I loved Albert Brooks. He was great. I used to, when he would go on the panel on the couch on the Johnny Carson show, if you can find those on YouTube, they're all hilarious.
He went out one night on Johnny Carson as a mime and then just talked. And if you get a chance to listen to his any of his comedy albums, they're absolutely incredible. And But Jimmy, I just got one more thing that I always like to do before the end of the show, and then I'm going to let you go because I would probably want you to jump in on this. And I do a little thing called what color is the sky on your planet? And here's the story. In India, the pressure to succeed in medical exams is enormous. So after 20-year-old Suraj Bhaskar failed the necessary exam twice, he decided to take matters into his own hands to increase his chances of being accepted. And he cut off his foot because India medical schools take a quota of 5% of people with disabilities to get into
Oh my God.
So he went in, cut off his foot, tried to get into school, but as the police dug deeper, the whole thing fell apart. Everyone was covering for him. He said it was like I had a violent attack, but the cut was too clean for it to be a violent attack, and they tracked him down and arrested him for fraud. And all I can say to him is, if you're cutting off your foot to get into medical school, what color is the sky on your planet?
Wow. I'm going to say it's red like blood. That's my guess.
Well,
oh my
hey, Jimmy,
God.
Thanks. My dog needs to get fed. So
okay.
Thanks a lot for joining me. Hopefully you'll come back again when we have the technical things all figured out.
Okay.
And you're at Jimmy Dore on YouTube. Your shows are all up there, your clips, everything like that. And go check it out.
Okay. See you. I'll see you in Milwaukee next month.
Yes. And we'll get together. Maybe I'll have 4 minutes of material. I'll pop up.
I would love to. Would love to.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
You know, I quote you all the time. You're one of the you're one of the comedians that you can find me at least once a week repeating one of your bits.
No, he is a guy.
Yeah, that's it. Who spent 4 years in a foxhole in Da
Nang. We thought it'd be funny.
That's all right. And you know, your Casey Kasem was also amazing.
Maybe I'll get into doing. I can't remember my closer.
Daddy, don't walk so fast. Remember that there was something a bit about that. I can't remember it either.
Talk dirty to me.
Yeah, that's it.
Where it was a long distance dedication from a 13-year-old girl whose dad had died.
Yes, that's right.
So, kid, will you please play Talk Dirty to Me by Poison?
Anyway.
All right, Jimmy.
All right, brother. Great to talk to you,
man. Great to talk to you, and I'll see you in February.
Best of luck with your show.
Yep. Thank you very much, Jimmy.
Bye-bye.
Jimmy Dore, one of the funniest guys I've ever met. We did get a little bit political, but hey, that happens, and I apologize. I'll have to go back and try and see if I can fix that before I post it again. I'm going to have to come up with something interesting because we're down to 76 people. I think people are losing interest. So I'll get some great guests coming up next week. And I want to thank you guys for sticking around and supporting me because I got nothing better to do. So the next time I see you, I'll be up to day 57 of being unemployed. But until that time, as I always like to say, make good choices.
Coming up Monday on KB's Unemployed show, KB reviews how he disappointed his family this weekend and gives you another top 5 list. It all starts at 3 p.m. See you then.